Welcome back to Kadira Recaps. Today I will show you a 2010 dramatization film, named Lock Up. Spoilers ahead. Keep an eye out and fare thee well. In Spain, single-parent Luis is having inconvenience with Fran, his high school child. Fran is impolite, defiant, rough, and simply a general torment in the back. He smokes and beverages a great deal, takes an impromptu day off, affronts his father, faults him for his mom leaving them when he was a child, and keeps awake until late on the PC visiting with his companions while making sufficient clamor to keep Luis conscious when he wants to rest prior to going to work. Luis attempts to speak with his child, advising him that he should be capable assuming he needs to have a future. However, Fran never focuses on his dad's concern and stress. The majority of Fran's time is enjoyed with his dearest companions Nuria and Miguel, and Nuria turns into the young lady Fran has his most memorable time with. Whenever they're done, Nuria makes reference to a door between them, yet Fran rapidly disheartens her by saying they're only companions with benefits and not a genuine relationship. In the meantime, Fran's pressure continues to deteriorate when he gets a few troubling calls at work. First, Fran's instructor asks him for a gathering so they can discuss Fran continually missing classes. A couple of days after the fact, he gets a call from the clinic on the grounds that Fran and Miguel have gotten in a battle. At the point when Luis goes to get his child, Miguel's folks request that he control Fran in light of the fact that he's being a terrible impact on his companions. Luis chastens Fran for his way of behaving and tells him he'll begin coming to the store to work. However, Fran replies by kicking the vehicle and punching his dad prior to escaping. On Fran's 17th birthday celebration, the kid takes cash from his dad and leaves the house subsequent to drinking wine to celebrate at a club with his companions. He's living it up. In any case, the evening places a negative impression for him when he observes Nuria kissing another person. In the meantime, Luis is separated from everyone else in the house with the cake he had purchased for his child. In the wake of blowing the candles himself, he chooses he's had enough and scans the web for an answer. This is the way he finds CIMCA, a remedial focus that works in raucous young people. Luis watches a lot of recordings where guardians share their encounters. They additionally had children and girls that got rowdy and, surprisingly, hit them. Yet CIMCA took their little rebels and changed them into respectful, mindful understudies. Luis just quits observing at the point when he hears Fran return. The kid is vexed and nearly goes to his dad to discuss it. Be that as it may, eventually, he likes to head to sleep. The following day, Fran goes to a CIMCA show to get a better thought of how they work. The host converses with general society about family values and awful nurturing in a rowdy yet magnetic manner, practically like a strict minister, and it's exceptionally successful, since general society effectively drones back the solutions to his inquiries without a second thought. Meanwhile, Fran stays at home and gets a call from Miguel, who lets him know they can't hang out any longer since his folks have had enough. Fran affronts him for selling out him and hangs up prior to calling Nuria. However, rather than being immediate and requesting an amicable ear, he affronts her as well for having kissed another person. Nuria reminds him he was the one that needed nothing genuine, so Fran hangs up on her as well. Soon thereafter, Luis at long last takes his choice, and when dusks, two outsiders capture Fran. The kid shouts out for help, yet Luis simply lets him know it's for his own benefit. Fran shows up at CIMCA in the first part of the day and abuses Principal Oscar when he draws near him to invite him. Oscar will not acknowledge this mentality and pushes Fran against the divider, reminding him he should be conscious here to be rebuffed. Then, at that point, Fran gets new non-exclusive garments and his head shaved before he joins his individual adolescent young men, who invite him by standing up and reciting a welcome expression simultaneously like troopers. While watching an educational video, Fran attempts to converse with one of the young men, yet this just gets the gathering to stand up once more and rehash the guidelines about quietness and regard. There's something exceptionally specific about them. The majority of them have an earthy colored blemish on the skin under their jaws. A while later, Fran goes through his most memorable day of what will turn into his day-to-day daily schedule at CIMCA. The young men go through the early daytime making garments pins to get familiar with the worth of difficult work, eat around early afternoon, then go back to either more pin making or doing exercise. They likewise go through normal clinical checkups and meetings of video conduct illustrations. In the meantime, Luis has the opportunity to unwind and appreciate harmony at home, yet he contemplates Fran, so he sends him a container loaded with gifts including a water bottle. Whenever the case shows up at CIMCA, however, Fran is permitted to take a gander at it yet not to keep it. Among the exercises at CIMCA, there additionally are treatment meetings that Fran is obliged to join in. All the young men share how hard things are in their lives, so Fran takes the risk to whine about his dad for having sent him to this spot, believing he's the sort of man that pushes individuals away when he would rather not hear them, and that is presumably how he treated his mom as well. Anyway, after certain words from the specialist, Fran concedes he misses his father. Later in the educator's parlor, Oscar reminds every one of the teachers that the free day is coming before long and clears up for novice Nando what's going on with it. For one day, regardless of rules are put, and they permit the teenagers to have a good time at a little party. This assists them with developing their confidence in their framework. Nando is incredulous yet utilizes the opportunity to offer a few grumblings, trusting it's unjustifiable for the educators to eat as severely as the youngsters do and mourning the absence of high-temp water. Be that as it may, Oscar doesn't pay these grumblings any brain. It appears being disregarded leaves Nando in a terrible temperament, in light of the fact that later during supper, he sees one of the young men eating gradually and goes nuts. Blaming him for eating hesitantly, Nando hits the kid's head on the table 2 or multiple times prior to tossing him on the floor and coercively feeding him. As the remainder of the young men start eating quicker, the person affronts Nando, who replies with a punch and pepper shower. The kid winds up in the facility, hurt yet alive, and the episode certainly stands out of CIMCA's proprietor, who is concerned about the embarrassment this could cause, assuming that the guardians were to find out. Later, Oscar admonishes Nando for his activities, yet Nando continues to demand the adolescents need a harder hand, so Oscar pushes him onto the table and takes steps to hurt him in the event that he doesn't follow CIMCA's school system. Whenever dusks, somebody enters the young men's room to record them having bad dreams. Fran awakens a couple of seconds some other time when he listens to certain commotions and sneaks to see what's happening. After cautiously staying away from a watchman, Fran comes to the disengagement room, where a kid is attached to a bed, also is kept there with a blindfold on his eyes, cloth in his mouth, and earphones playing clearly commotions in his ears. At the point when Fran eliminates the dressing, the kid begins shouting, so Fran takes off. Previously he's found. He winds up stowing away in an extra space to stay away from the watchman. However, the man finds him at any rate, so Fran bounces on him and starts thumping him. Ultimately, 2 different watchmen find him and take him to the discipline room, where Fran at last comprehends the reason why everybody has that earthy-colored blemish on his jawline. The teenagers are compelled to sit down on the floor with great affection for quite a long time, not in any event, enjoying reprieves to go to the restroom, so they alleviate themselves right where they are. There is generally a gatekeeper watching them consistently, yet sooner or later in the evening, a similar strange individual comes to record their misery. As though this wasn't discipline enough, when morning comes, they play weighty metal music at an excruciating volume. When the discipline is done and Fran is permitted to get back to the everyday daily schedule, he moreover has an earthy-colored blemish on his jawline. In the meantime, Luis has started going to a care group shaped by other guardians that have sent their children to CIMCA, facilitated by the very analyst that works with the young men. After Luis shares the difficulty he proceeded with Fran, the specialist requests that Ernesto talk straight away, who is there with his better half Luz and his little girl Sandra. The young lady has as of late left the foundation following 20 months of constrainment and has been acting totally well. However, while Ernesto tells the others about his experience, she can't quit shaking her leg and looking somewhat spacey. She just addresses request to go to the restroom, yet Ernesto makes her hold on until their turn is finished, so Sandra winds up going in that general area on the seat. Whenever Luz sees this, she takes her little girl away. However, the sight has truly an impact on Luis. Acknowledging he misses his child, when he returns home, Luis goes to Fran's room and turns on the PC, crying when he sees that the recordings Fran made with his companions were all in great, clean tomfoolery and, surprisingly, incorporated a couple of shots of Luis himself. The following day, Luis goes to visit Fran, yet he's shipped off the foremost's office first. Subsequent to seeing the children messed around while cleaning the windows, Oscar invites Luis and tells him that he can't see Fran in light of the fact that he's been rebuffed for troublemaking. While showing a surveillance camera video of the night Fran beat up the watchman without offering setting, Oscar brings up every one of the social issues Fran has and why he really must regard the discipline rules, which incorporates not seeing his father for some time. After Luis is gone, Oscar looks after the young men while they go through another instructive video and notification them making jokes among them once more. When he